Hey guys, well, Intel isn't doing so well. So, if you're not already aware, there is a computer processor manufacturer company named Intel. They've been kind of the top dogs of the computer chip industry for a really, really long time. They've made CPUs, they just started making GPUs, and they've kind of been a big deal since like the 80s. And they've had their competitors from time to time, like AMD and ARM, but for the past while, they've just kind of been on the wayside. They haven't really gained the lead. Now they're starting to gain the lead, and Intel is becoming less and less relevant, and it's starting to show. This is an article from the Wall Street Journal. Intel's problems are even worse than you've heard. Yeah, they are not doing too good. So we're going to go ahead, look through this article. It's a pretty long article, so I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the highlights. First of all, one warning sign is that in the last quarter, AMD, which is Intel's main competitor, basically eclipsed Intel's revenue for chips that go into data centers. Now, data centers are a really, really, really important source of revenue for CPU manufacturing companies. Basically, to use the internet, there's got to be like a server that provides you content. There's some computer sitting somewhere that's letting you watch this YouTube video right now. That computer needs hardware to work. So, companies like Google end up buying processors to put into their computers that serve you content, just as an example. And AMD is starting to get the lead in that industry, which is a stunning reversal because in 2022, Intel's data center revenue was 3 times that of AMD. So AMD is getting in there. And that's a big deal because that is a very important source of revenue for these kinds of companies, is those big, in bulk, very, very powerful servers that have like thousands upon thousands of them. Like, that's a very important source of revenue. So the fact that AMD is in the lead, big warning sign for Intel. One other thing is that Intel is not really, while they have a little bit of a market in the GPU industry, it's not that big of a market. So we're now starting to have an issue where Intel needs to start playing a game of catch up in order to get into the GPU industry, because companies like Nvidia have such a huge dominance over the GPU industry, and now that's becoming an even more important source of revenue due to applications such as AI. So, you it's kind of a big deal, and while Intel is trying to get into the industry, they have a very, very minuscule market share of high-end GPUs for gaming or AI or whatever it may be. They don't really have the market share in that industry. So that's even worse. And furthermore, the actual main architecture that AMD and Intel build upon, x86-64, and for reference, if you don't already know, an architecture, think of it kind of like a base plate for how your computer works. It's kind of like the first level of it all. Like there's basic math and then there's calculus. Think of like an architecture as like basic math and then you build upon that. So the architecture being x86-64 is kind of being thrown to the wayside now as companies are starting to build with another architecture, ARM, which for one thing in some cases is faster, two, it's cheaper, and three, it's pretty easy to make yourself if you know what you're doing. And it also has a very low power cost. So you can go ahead and use ARM in a much lower power environment usually, and you can still get a lot of good performance out of it. So that's even worse there too. The thing that Intel has been building upon for like easily like more than 20 years is just starting to be chipped away at. So another issue there for sure. And furthermore, furthermore, not only is ARM becoming more popular, but half of the companies that are using these kinds of architectures are just building it themselves. For example, Amazon, who is the world's biggest provider of cloud computing, has just been making their own processors. They don't have a need for Intel's processors. They're building it in house because it's cheaper for them. They don't, so their biggest markets are kind of just oozing away because they've just realized, hey, it's just cheaper to make processors ourselves. Let's just make processors ourselves. So, even worse, furthermore, not that they were ever really prevalent in the market of gaming, but Intel, uh, they're they're lacking in there too. For example, systems like the Valve's Steam Deck and the Lenovo Legion Go, which are portable gaming systems that can run PC games, are using processors from AMD. And alongside that, there are more and more people who are choosing to use AMD processors in their computer rigs and gaming PCs and stuff because sometimes they're just cheaper and sometimes they're genuinely just better. So they're starting to lose the PC gaming market too, and now they're also losing the laptop market too, again because of those ARM-based CPUs, because ARM laptops are starting to become really popular. Heck, I even run one. What I'm making this video on right now is an ARM laptop made by Apple. Apple used to be partners with Intel. They used to put an Intel CPU in every computer. They had an exclusivity contract, not an exclusivity contract, but every CPU in Apple computers were Intel. That's not the case anymore. They make their own. So it's kind of gotten to a point where Intel is just really losing all of their markets dangerously fast, and they really need to catch up because they're starting to lose the gaming market, the IT and server market. So like businesses, they're losing the laptop market, which they were pretty prevalent in too. They're starting to lose the pro user market, which kind of ties in with the laptop market and everything, because like high-end laptops like MacBooks and stuff like that, it's just it's not going well. And the new AI market, they haven't been able to tap into it either. So they're not doing too hot. And it's interesting. So I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen this year because last quarter they lost $16 billion. That's not good. So I'm I'm curious to see what's going to happen this year with Intel, especially because analysts are expecting Intel to return to profitability this year. Let's see if that ends up happening. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you want to watch more videos, you can check them out right over there. Like, comment, subscribe. Take care, you guys. Stay safe out there.